All right. So, what is this? It's, well, it's actually pretty simple. Um, this, yeah, I had to make sure that this is still broadcasting, afraid of my computer. So, this is just kind of going to take a look behind the scenes and basically show our squad captains for BBC and quite frankly anybody else that some of the required duties of a captain. The biggest one is match scheduling. This is of course going to be showing some things through the IGL site. As you can see right here, www.indiangaminglink.com. That's currently where our club is playing leagues through. Um, if you saw a previous video from me about them, while there may have been slightly more negative content, I would definitely say that I like how this league is being run, and in a way, their spring 2020 announcement also kind of, well, again, from my perspective, knocked out of the park. But anyways, onto the meat of everything, and it's basically like you've gone out, you've assembled your team. It's time to schedule a match. So I've just always found it. So also, I recommend doing this through a browser because I'm not sure exactly in this case how any league is up to date, but it's just like it's despite the fact that there's cross-platform play, especially for IGL, it's just that sometimes sites are just like more optimized to the PC. Um, so that's just something to take into consideration. So I need to schedule a match. Um, I have two teams running. Um, some people will be the captain of one team. Some may be lucky like me and run two teams. So make sure that you get the right team. I'm just going to follow three to my threes team. Um, so also this is like somewhat a shout out to IGL. IGL actually does a pretty good job of keeping this organized. Um, so just like the layout, they do have like the current match on top, which is great. But if you scroll down on IGL site, you also have the option down here. So it's pretty simple. You'll click on the schedule. You're not going to see it in this tutorial, but up will pop up the captain's information on Discord and their also the captain's teammates as well. You should always schedule obviously through the captains first, but yeah, that's how you can get a hold of them. So that will be your contact information. Ideally, what you should have done beforehand is make sure that you know roughly what your team is going to do. My recommendation is try and get this done on Saturday. You want to make sure that you kind of know your team's availability for next week. Match scheduling, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a pain in the butt, but there is going to be some back and forth. So just in a way, it's just like with anything, the better prepared you are, the more you can not get into a screaming match with the opponent's captain. It just makes it easier if you know your options. Sometimes you might have a narrow window, but you can at least say, hey, this is what we have. And then you should either reach out Saturday or Sunday. You want to try and do it before the league week starts. IGL in the case of IGL, their league week runs Monday through Sunday. Their playoffs run Tuesday to Monday. Um, they don't want to lose a day because, again, shout out to IGL. Basically, the day after the season ends, they spend that Monday basically doing all the admin work to just generate, get the playoff brackets generated, get all that information put into the team schedules and everything. Um, so that's just why the offset, which is even better because then you have a little extra time to lock down a match time. So I recommend not contacting your opponent on Monday, instead doing it on Saturday or Sunday, which of course then means you need to, get in contact with your team. Depending on how your team is laid out, you can do it, if your club wants to, set it up by squad channels, or you can do it through DM. My club is experimenting. We are actually going to try DMs this time around. That way we don't have a big listing of stuff to scroll through. And I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm doing good. So, you click on the schedule, you get the captain's Discord information. And basically, you go start conversation. Surprisingly, I don't turn up. But yeah, you basically go look them up. If you can't find them. Sometimes the problem with Discord, just look up the rules for whatever league, in this case IGL, and just contact, and you could probably go in their Discord, just say, hey, I'm having trouble connecting with the captain. They'll actually get you connected. You can also find them in the IGL member list. Sometimes a pain in the butt because there's a lot of people in IGL, but I mean, that's usually the way. So you go find them. Yeah. So I have a canned message I send. It's just easier, which I might have accidentally show. That's not what I wanted to do. I paste my message in there. So what I'm doing here, like I fill in, yes, I have 2 targets here, but hey, this is a demo. So just the purposes. So address the captain, obviously. I put my team name in there just so they know. Their team. Also, address the league, the match type, and what week. It just, especially when you're reaching out early, just so you know. It's just like giving as much information to the opposing captain as possible. Because they're on my end, it's been times it's just like, is this 2s or 3s? Even I've gone back and done that. I'm like, dang it, I should have said 3s. Because when you start scrolling up, you can go do that. This is also, there isn't that much advantage because you're going to have back and forth, but like again, because you contacted your team, you can basically say like, okay, like these are the days we actually can't play. This can probably be seen as a power move, but like your opponent is probably going to come back with some days that they can't play on. So that now you have a starting point. But like if you just let your opponent know like when you can't play, again it makes everything so much easier. And then like basically my default stance is can we stream it? Um, and then I basically set like the expectations like this is going to be someone from the club, we're going to be broadcasting on the channel, and then I reference the channel. My message has changed through the sessions, and this is more refined um, to BBC members that are viewing this. This is maybe a hint at what's coming down the line. If it's after the spring session that started, well, you already know what it is. That is not the address, though. But basically, then I also give them a link to a channel. So, most people in the club will know the observer rules, but it's like the observer rules is you basically can't hang out in the Discord channel that the squad is playing in. For basically visibility purposes, I actually keep my Discord overlay up with the channel. It's something you can set in Discord. And that way they can just basically see me talking to myself. If some of the opponent's squad is going to come in, you can do your own, whoever, do whatever. But like basically, this section right here is basically to let them know that we want to stream broadcast the match. And most people are open about it. It's again, you just be upfront with your opponent to say like, hey, we want to do this, and and just go from there. And if the opponent wants to put it on a league's network, in the case of IGL, whether IGL proper or one of their communicast streams, go for it. It does not necessarily have to be in the BBC network. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I know, obviously in house, I am messaging two of my club mates. So this will start the dance of scheduling. They'll come back and say something, and then eventually you'll settle on a time. Also, again, going back to Observer wanting to broadcast, just by putting it out there front, that way you don't have to go back, oh yeah, we can add anything. Because also, like, by saying that, you're also saying, like, yeah, we're open to observers on your side as well. So yeah, like, this is everything. So yeah, you'll just basically do this. You'll play your match, and is Dilly gonna give me a fake response? We'll see. And obviously for opposing captains, they all have their own schedules. So like, again, it can be anything, and sometimes it just takes a little bit to lock it down. But again, this is why you want to try and do this as early as possible, so that you have the entire league week to actually play your match, so that you can play on Tuesday, so you can play on Monday if things come up. Just from the standpoint of just do this as soon as possible, and just get your team in the habit. So I just make sure that nothing has come up in between the time. If they get back with you as soon as possible, that's even great. Also, keep this as professional as possible. If anything goes south, you just want to know that you acted straightforward, professionally, and everything. You don't want to create any more drama that can already be created, you know. So that would just also be my recommendation. So now I just come back here and confirm everything. And if you're dumb like me, also in this, so let me, well, I would put fast forward to Saturday, but basically also in this chat, um, you'll just basically argue over who wants to create. IGL technically says like the home team should create, so, but it really doesn't matter. Just agree on something, you know. So, like in this case, in my playoff match, technically the janitors should create, but again, it just, as long as you guys agree, as long as you and the captain agree on something, it doesn't matter if the visiting team creates. So, yeah. So now, for the purpose of this demo, you would also use you know, you don't have to be like that descriptive. If you're streaming your point of view, don't put out this information. You know, whether you're creating or your captain is, the opponent is creating, there's a minuscule chance that someone will come in, but it's just like you don't want to take that chance. And then also, you know, yeah, I think I thought I had something else, but you know, you get to do that, and then like afterwards, you know, you get an option to submit results. Capture replays. So save your replays. Save your replays even if you're not going to report. IGL has a pretty slick site when ballchasing.com isn't overloaded. They just partner with ballchasing.com. Replays kind of get uploaded there, and then ball chasing feeds it back to IGL, and it parses down the information. So it makes it really easy to report a match. Otherwise, you'll have to do it by hand, which is pretty much going back to a stream and just like stopping it on every end of match screen. Um, but by doing that, and then you know the match results will populate. Um, but yeah, for IGL, they make with the from the winter 2020 circuit on. I love that change to just make it really easy on match porting. Um, Helps offload some of that from the admins that were doing it, but just also makes it really easy. And then also with the post match stuff. Um, Also, if you see any name issues, resolve them here with the captain. With most of the time, it's just names just slightly don't line up because someone has probably changed their name. Again, you can do your homework beforehand and go into tracker info, because if the tracker info breaks, which it can, especially for Steam, because if you use a custom URL and update it, now you suddenly have a broken link, and then you're like, well, what the heck's going on? So yeah, but that in itself, that's basically just the whole match dance. It's not really that difficult. And that's basically the primary duty you have as a captain, is just doing the whole match scheduling, doing the results. Again, it doesn't matter whether or not winner or loser reports. As always, just verify the match results. If you don't report, just make sure everything's correct. Um, even the stats, just because sometimes names get switched. IGL can fix that. It's not that big of a deal. Shit happens. And then, yeah. And that is pretty much it. Um, so yeah, if you're internal, if you have any questions about the process, just feel free to reach out to the current captain/leadership. If you're not BBC but have found this, just reach out. Reach out to your club's leadership as well. It's really not that difficult that it's made out to be, especially when IGL does provide a lot of the information and the reporting is pretty easy. I and if IGL makes even match scheduling even easier down the road, this is pretty much kind of a the hard way, compared to like whatever comes out down the future. But yeah, this will go ahead and conclude the video. Thank you all for watching.